how do we use this data as a trigger?
Thanks, Diana. So basically, yeah, there's lots of different types of video that we can use across the buyer journey. And before we can really start to look at triggering, I think we have to kind of consider what the type of content is that we're using. So looking at video for awareness, we'd be talking about brand anthem videos or short form, kind of socials, maybe high level explainers. You'll often see videos around product launches or events, or little teaser videos about something that's coming up. And as we move to consideration, we're going to get more educational in the kind of content that we're putting together. We might be sharing industry trends and insights, webinar replays or clips, a good example of where we might try to influence somebody in that consideration phase. When we move to purchase, someone's down to their best few. They're trying to decide between a kind of, the last few options. We're going to get more detailed, look at product reviews, maybe comparisons. They might be keen to see what setup looks like or what feature reviews there are, or they might have frequently asked question videos. So we're trying to help people to make a decision, going through to retention. Obviously, there's welcome phase, but there's onboarding. So getting people up to speed really quickly, maybe some more detailed how-tos, tutorials. You kind of get the idea. And then advocacy, maybe more tutorials, advanced features, sharing success stories. So, there's lots of different types of video that we're using across the buyer journey. So this granular detail that we're able to get into different types of videos is going to influence how we orchestrate our communications, how we build our journeys. So jumping over to the next stage of this, setting the scene, is how do we build out we're going to sort of zoom in on kind of onboarding and just look at post-purchase. And why is onboarding important? Well, we want to capitalize on kind of the honeymoon phase of peak engagement. So there's lots of excitement and novelty. The buyers often looking for sort of post-purchase justification. And they've often bought something because there's an immediate need. So they want to get up to speed fast. And onboarding is a really critical component of that. So let's go one more layer again and just look at some personas, because we can't really look at content without really considering some personas. And so I've picked up some automotive personas, and a little help from Gemini, come up with some images of what they might look like. But let's say we've got, kind of flashy Fiona who likes her fast cars, and she's watching this kind of onboarding journey to try and understand kind of what it's going to mean for her. And then we've got family first Fred, who kind of wants a spacious kind of a car. So he's looking for safety and those sorts of things. And then we've got, I don't know, luxurious Carol, who likes comfort and in her big sedans. And so that's what she's looking for in her car. And then we've got, I don't know, Gadget Greg, who's looking for all the gadgets in the car and is kind of tech savvy, wants to be connected. And then we've got our budget guy, I don't know, Budget Paul, and he wants to make sure that he's got the right kind of car. So we've got some personas. We've got some understanding of the kind of videos they're watching. So, Derek, how do we put this all together and trigger something meaningful?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump in and have a look. What we've not had access to previously is clarity and understanding, I suppose, what these people are doing. And so the nice thing about VidSync is that it now gives us not just simply that, yay, they clicked and got to a landing page, but they've actually engaged with the video content. And so there are a range of ways that we can do that. And so what we've done here is we've mocked up a campaign canvas example that might be for an onboarding program for new clients. The segment at the top there is just simply constantly looking. Maybe it's once a day, could be more, bringing people into the campaign, and out goes the first video. The first email, but in that email is a link to a video. And it's a welcome video. It might be from the CEO, could be from somebody in the organization, or whoever it might be, inviting them to, or welcoming them, and then inviting them potentially to do specific things in the context of the onboarding campaign. The nice thing now is that because we've got access to some specific data using the custom object from VidSync, is we now have a much better idea as to, did they actually watch the video? Did they get to the critical point in the video where there was a specific call to action? So there are a few ways we can do that. So this is the shed filter. I've just sort of zoomed over here. And what we've got is two levels of filters that we're applying within the shed filter. So the first one here is identifying the specific video. So we use the video ID, all that information sitting there in the custom object. You can see it. There's also the name of the video, which makes it a lot easier. Obviously, the ID doesn't mean a great deal to you, but you've got that right there in front of you. So that's the first thing. Let's be specific. We've got the video in question. The next thing we want to do is look at the critical view stage. And that's what this is. And you'll see the critical view stage happens in three areas. It's started, watched half, and completed. Now, in addition to this, there is another field also in the CDO, which is a percentage reference. So this granularity may not be granular enough for what you need. So you do have the percentage option as well. But for many things you do, it may be just as easy to use these these values that you can see here. Now I'm in a much better position to understand what the person's done. And so in this example, I've asked for people who have not completed the video. And so if I actually go back, then you'll be able to see that I can reroute people based on that information. So now I'm beginning to change the experience on the campaign canvas based on what a person has or has not done in the context of a particular video. I mean, that's got to be pretty exciting stuff. I mean, this is stuff that we've really just not been able to do previously, unless we're spending, as you said earlier, on tens of thousands of dollars with pretty significant platforms. So this is a much nicer way to go about. Adrian.
Definitely. And we promised you a couple of different scenarios. So I just want to have a look at another use case. And this is pretty popular amongst our customers, especially in professional services and financial services. But even outside of that, hopefully you'll get some kind of some ideas around what you could do with whether video and this type of data in these sorts of scenarios. So one of them is this kind of idea of continuing professional development. And lots of organizations, financial services and professional organizations do this type of training. And what's critical is really, well, there's a couple of elements. One is they're doing a lot of it. So they want to automate it as much as possible. And the other is they want to be able to kind of allocate these points and encourage people to attend and to stay, compliant and up to date with their training. So, and there are lots of opportunities to do that. So obviously in the event and training space, just the promotion and registration of events, we can do a lot in the automation space with that. But we can also start to look at attendance tracking and then point allocation. We can look at things like certificates and issuing those and providing summaries so that people can see the kind of points that they've earned during a course of time. And then the sort of post-event engagement. So similarly to what we're looking at the onboarding, is we can take this information and just be smarter about the kinds of communications that we're sending out. So obviously the benefits are we can increase the efficiency, we can run more events more easily, we can be more accurate. It's overall a much better experience. So anytime we start to introduce some personalization, we're really helping our customers do what they want to do. We're kind of enhancing that overall customer experience. And ultimately, there's better compliance. And we're starting to use we can use some data-driven insights. We can actually look at what's working, what's not working, and make some changes as a result. But going on from here, we can actually go on and enhance this further. So by increasing the amount of detail that we have, we can go further, and particularly in these kind of three key areas. So that event promotion and registration, we can start to really optimize our content creation because we know what people are engaging with. We know what promotional videos they're watching, how much of them they're watching, and we can change them out. So if they're not right, we can make those changes. So we're thinking about things like A/B testing. We're thinking about things like changing the content on a regular basis. So that set and forget isn't really set and forget. It's set and optimize. And we're thinking about targeted promotions that we want to go specifically to people that we know haven't done something. They haven't watched this video. They haven't done this training. Let's get to them again. Let's try and reach that audience that we're not able to get to. They might have only watched part of a lot of the videos. Let's get them over the line and help them. We can look at attendance tracking and point allocation so we can be much more accurate. Maybe rather than we think somebody might have clicked on a video and might have watched it. We know if they've done 70% of the training, 80% of the training, 99% of the training, and maybe we allocate the points and the certificates based on over 95 is okay. You're going to get the point. And we can also look at progress tracking towards their compliance and say, you've got X number of points left this year, or, we can help you get whatever the extra points that you need. And then obviously that post-event engagement, we're able to personalize reminders and follow-ups accordingly. So They might have just, they might have a certain time frame to get some stuff done by, or we might want to get a particular audience over the line. And so we can tailor those post-event comms to a much higher degree. So, Derek, over to you again. How might this look kind of in the real world?
Yeah, sure. All right. So fundamentally, when we access shared filters, as many of you know as Eloqua users, that the interface that we use to create a shared filter is essentially the same as it is for segments. And so here, what we're looking at now is looking for triggers. So you might have specific video content that is designed as a hook. It could be maybe it just goes for 30, 45 or even 60 seconds. That's it. And it's either people get there from different campaigns you're running, maybe it's hosted on the Eloqua landing page, or maybe it's sitting on your CMS, whichever it might be. But there are those really cool functions that we've got with the ability to gate this content. So we can use Eloqua forms, obviously, which is what you would experience for those who attend the user group. You go through a form to get to the replay. The VidSync function actually has a little pop-up that if the person is unknown based on cookies, then we can present them with a really simple form. It might just be first name, last name, and email address. That might be it. You can add more if you want, but that might be it. And so when you get people watching, that act in and of itself could be the trigger. So it could be a net new individual. And so we can use segments, as you can see here on this screen. We can use segments to listen for that information, and then that's the entry point to get them into a campaign to engage. Now, of course, that's just one thing we can do with them. We can push information directly through to the CRM, for example, to let the CRM and sales team know that a particular video has been watched. And you can see here the video percentage that I talked about earlier is equal to at least, say, 75%, for example. Whatever works for you in relation to your content. And in discussions with Dion a couple of weeks ago, we talked about that notion of you might have a video that only goes for 30 or 60 seconds, but the actual call to action is at 45 seconds. So we want to be really clear and understand where that is. And if people get that far, then what do we do? What's the result? How do we want to manage that particular situation? So your segment is where that triggering really happens, Adrian. That's where we're able to do the listening. And then from there, we can go into programs, we can go into campaigns. There's a whole range of things we can do from there.